Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Reading Workshop. Today we are starting a new story. It's called Paul Bunyan, and it is a fantasy fiction. It's a very fun, lighthearted, easy to read, easy to follow along story, and I thought it would be perfect to kick off June. So we will be working on elements of fantasy fiction. In fantasy fiction, an author can use exaggerations. This means like stretching the truth, right? First, you have the PowerPoint presentation or the Google Slides presentation that you're going to access. So let's click on that first. Remember to view original. And then I would hit back to Seesaw, X that out, and open up the YouTube link. And that is one of your favorite teachers reading aloud to you. Oh no. Let's see. Maybe I should just be patient. Oh, here I am.
Welcome back, everyone.
All right, that's me. Okay, so we are in our Paul Bunyan lesson, and our learning intention is great readers will be able to analyze a fantasy fiction text. So, what are some elements of a fantasy fiction? Maybe you've never heard of that. A fantasy is an imaginary story that could not happen in real life. Never, ever, ever. So, some characteristics it includes something magical or unreal elements. The setting can be real or imaginary. It follows the narrative story structure. So, it will still be like a fiction text, but like I said, it has unreal elements. And the characters often have unusual traits or special powers. And Mr. Paul Bunyan has very unusual traits. Our essential questions are what elements of the story Paul Bunyan makes it a fantasy fiction, and how does the author exaggerate or stretch the truth, the details of the text? So here is our text, Paul Bunyan, and remember to have two tabs open. You can play the YouTube video and read along at the same time. So here is our text, and maybe you're noticing as we're doing this quick book walk something different about Paul Bunyan. Maybe you have some prior knowledge of this tall tale, but it's a really fun story, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It definitely makes me smile with all of the sensory details and the exaggerations. So now we're at our activity based on reading. Now we are going to click on the add response. So I'm going to go back to Seesaw and I'm going to click on add response. As you know, I will be sample student today. And well, now wait a minute. I didn't read the directions. Maybe I should go back. What do you think? So let's delete. Okay. Delete and start over. All right. So click on the add response, which exaggerations you will interpret. Remember, this is a student choice. You will be given two exaggerations in the left column. In the right column, you will explain what makes it an exaggeration. So, what makes it completely unrealistic? No way that will ever happen. Tell me why. Only complete one page of the activity. This is a student choice. If you do all three, you have done too much work for the day. Put all that energy into one. Okay, now let's click on add response. Sample student. Let's get to it. And I have done a teacher model for you already. So this is the model page. So here is the exaggeration. His crib was a rowboat with rockers. Well, I know the size of a rowboat, and I have the size of a baby crib. So a crib can't be that large. This shows how big Paul Bunyan was as a baby. It took wool from a whole flock of sheep to knit him one sweater. A whole flock of sheep would make dozens of sweaters. This shows how large Paul Bunyan's clothes needed to be. And we have choice 1 And I want you to maybe challenge yourself here. Find your own exaggeration in the text and add it here. You have choice 2 and choice 3. They're all from the text. You know where to find your text evidence, right? Right here. All in here for you. All right, so let's get back to Cecil. And here's the rubric, which is for little old me to grade. Okay, let's shoot for anchored or rising. Okay, rising is everything in the anchored. And if you're doing more than 2 examples of non-literal language, which is the exaggeration, so maybe you challenged yourself and you found your own exaggeration. You were able to interpret it correctly. That would be a rising. If you do the top 2 boxes and you do it accurately, you will be getting an anchored. Okay. If you're only able to interpret one, you are sailing. And if you're unable to interpret any of it, you are navigating. Okay. So I really want you to put the work in here, guys. Okay. I am going to be adding a link to this recording right now, and you can click on this to help walk you through. Okay. Go forth and prosper.